Let's see here. I am by myself, so I'm just testing some stuff out. I see. Yep, we are coming in. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Sorry for the podcast listeners. I'm trying to figure out my shit over here for the live stream. So it's kind of interesting. COVID hit, and as a gamer and as an introvert, I loved it. Not that COVID hit, of course. I mean, the fact that I got to spend a lot more time at home and essentially be an indoor cat like I used to be when I was a kid, off and on. Video games have always been a passion, but you get grow up and you don't get to do as much of the video games as you want. However, obviously, I don't want to talk too much about that. I want to talk about what I've been doing, but it I I like video games. I like being at home. Obviously, it's not worth everything that's happening. That Not trying to say that, but I don't mind though being remote. Um, does give me a chance to focus on a couple of things, but you know I can definitely deal with it. So what one of my pleasures just in my life, media wise, is Hell's Kitchen. So I've talked about it on here before, and I just something about it, man. Me and my wife started watching it a while back, and I know Bonsai, one of the other hosts here, also like him and his wife enjoyed it as well. And it started with a fascination with the chef with a loud mouth, Mr. Gordon Ramsay, and then it just kind of shifted into this like, oh look at these dishes, that looks really good, let's see if we can try and cook them, and something like that. So my wife have tried to make some of the dishes, and we enjoy that part of it, but we also enjoy, like, at first the game part of it, like, oh, who's gonna make it, and that kind of thing. It's also part of it. um and I just it's it was fun. It was fun. My wife, we used to make a bet. We had our primary and our backup, and we were watching them go at it. And then it just turned into this. It got more real TV, a reality television. It got way more reality television, and it was no longer about, like, he even stopped saying all of the, like, obscenities. It became very. It feels like I'm saying it became very mainstream, and I guess honestly, that's probably what I'm saying. Funny enough, um, it's just let me see. You prefer Kitchen's Nightmare more than Hell's Kitchen? That's coming directly from the audience here, um, and I like Kitchen Nightmare, but only the one episode with Amy's Baking Company, and I believe we talked about it on the podcast, because 5D is a multimedia podcast that we like to do video games, we like to do movies, we like to do comic books, a little bit of everything. And since I'm flying solo tonight, I'm going to bounce around back and forth, and this is going to be not very cohesive, but my other two hosts are under the weather, so I'm just pulling this together like this rabbit coming straight out my ass. um, Anyways, so the Amy's Baking Company episode, that was probably my introduction to Kitchen Nightmares, because I liked Hell's Kitchen and I liked Master Chef a lot more in the beginning. It's gone a little too formulaic. They're running out of zany things to do. Um, and then yeah, they ate some bad shrimp. That's funny. Apparently, yeah, two demographically separated individuals ate bad shrimp, and now that's why they can't come on the podcast. That is the current going theory of the chat here on the YouTube. But anyways, so I liked Master Chef. I liked Hell's Kitchen, but I wasn't really into Kitchen Nightmares, or there was a hotel one as well. Hotel Nightmares, whatever. And then the Amy's Baking Company popped up, and I don't even remember how I found out about it. I think My wife probably told me about it, or maybe because it was also pretty big on Reddit, and I don't remember if I saw it before Reddit, um, or if I saw it after the Reddit hubbub. So I'm not even going to try to be a hipster about this one. Like, I might have just seen it on Reddit and been part of the sheep. Bah. Um, uh, the that episode, I couldn't believe that it was real. She came off as so just insane, and I was thinking like, they cut people to make them look worse, and this was my first exposure to the show, so I didn't know how edited it was and whatnot. So I went into a bit of a rabbit hole on that one because I started looking into it, and not in any sort of stalkerish way. I didn't try to Google Earth their house or anything stupid like that, but I'm just talking about into this episode, like any Hollywood news about it, or the usual sites, what people were saying. And on the Reddit, some people, like, it's weird how information comes out. A lot of times it's bullshit, but I just started looking into it, and yeah, this was legit. Like, apparently it was even worse than what they put in the show. I thought it was going to be super dramatic there at the end because, for those who haven't seen it, the setup is Kitchen Nightmare has Gordon Ramsay, the same celebrity chef that is in Hell's Kitchen here. So I don't have a graphic for Kitchen Nightmares, but chat brought it up, so let's talk about it. And so this setup is Gordon Ramsay comes in and he spends, it's not 24 hours. That's that new show where for some reason he's got a semi-truck with a kitchen, but whatever. It's I think like 3 or 4 days, maybe 2 weeks at the most he spends. He comes, he helps them. No, I think it's 3 days. 3 days. And he comes in, and the first day he just orders stuff off the menu. He orders a bunch of stuff to try and taste stuff, and he tastes their food. And then he inspects their kitchen. No, sorry. I know, and the next day, I think, he goes in. No, Sunday, he inspects the kitchen. And then the day after that, he actually watches a service. So that's the setup. And then on that's day 1, day 2, and then day 3, he has the place redone overnight. He retrains people. He teaches them new dishes, whatever he needs to do to save this place. And at the end of it, they do a reopening. And throughout, they have testimonials of patrons, employees who are either saying that they like a place, they hate a place, whatever it may be. And usually these things are failing, and there's some drama thrown in because some are like, oh, it's a husband and wife team that spent all their savings, and like there is a lot of that. But what's interesting is, it's pretty gross, some of the stuff you find, but you don't know how much they embellish for TV. So for this one, that was my skepticism. But no, it turned out to be pretty bad. So the two particular, it was a husband and wife, the two individuals, and she was a, like, I don't know, maybe 30s, blonde, like a lot of makeup. She was she wouldn't be unattractive except for, like, obviously she was whacking. She had like crazy eyes and a little bit of that, but genuinely, like, you see her. I gotta stop saying like so much. Oh my god. So you don't generally would look at her and think she's horrible. And he's older. She looks like she might be a trophy wife. And I think this was in Arizona. And he walks into the place and everything looks great, Gordon Ramsay. And he starts ordering stuff off the menu, and it's not good. With very common trope, it's not good. He tells the kitchen that it's not good. And normally, like, the chefs will, in other episodes, because I've gone and watched more, they'll be like, oh, well, it was fine. I don't care if he likes it, or sometimes they do get upset, and I don't know how much of that's for the camera. But for this one, like, she went into denial, and it started this whole cycle where her husband wouldn't tell her that she was doing things wrong because he was like afraid of her. And when she finally found out, she flipped the lid, started abusing the staff, and just generally like a bad person. And it was like saying some really heinous stuff. I'm not gonna go into exactly what she said, but yeah, trying to be at least not that detailed. And then you think that's bad, and on the front end, back end of the house is the kitchen. The front end, you got the wait staff and the hostesses, whatever. Anyways, so at the front end, the other owner, the husband, he has been stealing the tips of the employees. He has taken all their tips the whole time he works there. What he does is that he pays them a steady wage, and that in some places is rare, right? Hosts sometimes they work off tips and things like that. The service industry is a highly underpaid. Like, if we want to have our moment of something to fight for, is this service industry takes a lot of shit. I was in it. My mother's been in it for 20 years, and yeah, the thing we're not supposed to talk about, I kept saying the word in the beginning, and I'm hoping the YouTube doesn't get blocked. But she lost her job. It's a whole thing, right? But anyways, so he's taking the tips of the servers, and Gordon Ramsay's super pissed and super amazed. And long story short, they're batshit crazy. This couple is batshit crazy. They're stealing tips, and they're fighting with customers. Like, apparently, this all started because one of their former employees posted online or something after the episode going viral, saying that no, this is true, and it was really bad. Yeah. Like for me personally, being having worked in the service industry before, stealing the tips, that just seems dirty. Like, why? You're the owner, and he was like, oh, it's because when they can do the job that I can do, then they get the tips. And I'm like, oh, that guy's scummy. Anyways, so they get violent and try to fight customers. Not even joking. He starts threatening. He like just gets really mad, and they're about to call the cops, and then Amy comes out. Or no, Amy comes out and like, we're calling the police. Her husband's like, no, don't call the police. And there were all these rumors online that the husband was like mafia or something, or like, it got wacky because this thing got popular. However, the whole gimmick of this episode was that Gordon Ramsay, this was the only time he ever walked away. All the times he comes up for the next episode, helps them revamp their restaurant, but he always comes back. And this time he walked away, and he was just like, because they started arguing with him, and all they ever complained was the internet trolls. So I guess technically I'm an internet troll now just because I'm talking about them. But it was batshit crazy. They had basically decided to also, in addition to treat their employees bad and just, generally be bad to their customers, they also had the whole, I'm going to go to war with people on the internet. And if anybody would give you some advice about being on the internet, specifically in a social aspect, in a social community, whether it's the YouTube community or Facebook, don't feed the trolls. They're always hungry. No good can ever come of it. And things are just going to spiral. So let's say that even if they were a terrible restaurant and treated their employees bad, if they would have just let it go, I think they would have been fine. Like, yeah, there was an episode. You'll actually get more business because of your infamy. They should have just left it there. However, they decided to continue having just a social media war, and they like hired a PR firm and all this crazy stuff. And at one point, like, I don't know if this was the PR firm. I am foggy on the timeline at this point, but they were like, "Oh, sorry, our social media accounts all got hacked. That wasn't us. Tee-hee, don't hate us." Like, that was their whole thing. They hired a PR company, and the PR company just be like, "Say what you?" And I was like, "Oh yeah," I can hear the Shaggy song in the background. You won me. Yeah, bullshit. So yeah, after the war, they kind of started fading into obscurity. That was my first episode of Hell's Kitchen. See, I'm rambling, but I'm rambling, and I'm about 15 minutes in, so content. Not even sorry. So that was my first Kitchen Nightmares episode I ever saw, and I was like, holy shit, this thing sent me on a spiral. Is this show this good? I need to watch more of it. And so I started watching more, and honestly, no, it actually wasn't. I feel like that was where it peaked, and from there, everything else was just kind of boring. And I watched a lot more because cooking types of food, right? I got into that through other means, but yeah, no, it wasn't great. Yeah, no. But anyways, and it just was so disappointing. But anyways, Hell's Kitchen, MasterChef in the beginning, loved it. What the fuck else I'm doing? I just spent 15 minutes on one topic. We might do this. We might get there. You know what? I just spent almost every waking moment that I'm not adulting, whether it's working out, running by the lake here, or taking the dogs out, training a little bit the pup, taking her potty train, all that crazy stuff, helping the wife where I can, or working. I've been playing fucking Creativerse. And I want to say two things. One, fuck you. You know who you are in the audience for getting me into it. I have a tendency to like games like this. For those who followed the stream, they know that I got really into Ark for a while. So much so that Bonsai basically started gagging every time I mention it. Just kind of how I mentioned things, something else here in the end. However, I was trying to be friendly. I was trying to play Minecraft. I've never played Minecraft. I know that will surprise people, and I'm pretty sure I'll lose some nerd cred with some of the gamers, but I've never played it. It was never in the sphere of games that I started to play when it came out. I don't even remember exactly when it came out, but I just wasn't into it. It wasn't my thing to do. And then it turned into this giant, issue where I couldn't even run the fucking game. Because I decided to be nice and play with some of the audience here, and I want to play Minecraft. And I'm not complaining because woe is me. Oh, I'm trying to do something nice for the audience and it didn't work. I'm complaining because I paid money for it and it won't run, which made me real sad. There was some troubleshooting, and now I was like, oh, whatever. Let's play this other thing called Creativerse. I am pulling a Kevin Smith tonight. I am just going on so many tangents, and none of the other hosts are here to reel me back in. So you're welcome, and I'm sorry. Maybe I'm sorry and you're welcome. I think I messed up the order, but whatever. Creativerse, here we go. It is I feel like it's Fortnite meets Minecraft, in that you still do all the Minecraft farming, and you've got you can build you different materials, make different types of builds, but it goes pretty intricate. You got special glass lanterns, and you can recreate some pretty crazy shit. It's free to play, and when you load from one major area to another, you get to see these creations that other folks have made. So there's a big social component where you can share your world. There's persistent servers, and it's free to play. They just kind of spin it up for you, and you and your friends can have a server that's hosted by them for free, essentially. However, to unlock some of the really cool customizations, you can basically get customizations. I lost the thread, but you can change the way you look. It's very Fortnite like that. Crazy hats, things like that. There is PvP if you want to do that. But there's mining, and it's one of those games like No Man's Sky did this to me too, where mining resources and getting a little action here and there like did it for me. I'm usually not into more cartoony pixelated games, but this actually wasn't that at all. It's very, like I said, it's very Fortnite meets Minecraft. So I just spent, dude, pretty. I must have spent at least 20 hours this weekend playing this. It was Jesus. Instead of going outside in the sunshine, we did go outside some, but other times I was sitting here and playing Creativerse, so it's taken a lot of my time. I enjoy it, and I will say that it is pretty intricate. So here is how far I've gone. I have a house on a hill, top of a hill, and the only reason I started building my house on top of the hill is because not very far away there was a mine. There was already a natural mine, so I didn't have to do all kinds of crazy digging, and it would accelerate my getting to the deeper areas and finding different types of ores. However, the problem with that is, as well, is I had to make sure that you claim a land, because you can claim grid squares on the local map, but you only get 2, and then if not, you use either the in-game money or the premium currency. They're pretty open about that. So it's pretty intricate, and I've been farming. I have a little bit of a farm. This isn't something I thought I would do. I'm growing trees. I just planted all the seeds I had just for fun, see what would happen. I'm growing trees. I'm growing glowing mushrooms, are kind of great, if you know what I mean. No, they're a resource that you use. So I'm growing that. I've tamed like wild beasts and monsters, and it's pretty wild. They got a teleportation system that you can set teleporters. And anyways, it's well done. I am enjoying it. I don't think either of the hosts would be on here. It's very, you know what? It's very Terraria, but like the difference between GTA 2 and GTA 3. Like if Terraria made the leap from that GTA 2 top down to GTA 3 where it was 3D, like that leap, that graphical and quest leap, like the intricate. I feel like that this could be basically Terraria. And I love Terraria, so I bet you that's also why I'm attached to this. So I'm spending so much fucking time on this. And what you can do to support the devs, and when I find a game that I enjoy, that if I can sink 20 hours into this in a weekend, I've enjoyed the crap out of the game. There's full price, like AAA games that you spend $60 on that you get less enjoyment than I just got out of this fucking game. So there is a way to support them. It's called Creativerse Pro or something, and it's a one-time $20 thing, and it unlocks, like, it gives you a bigger inventory that you don't have to grind for. It unlocks like a lantern that you can activate that follows you around. It gives you some customizations free, and also gives you like X amount of their in-game currency to spend in the store. So I bought the Pro, the disclosure, just because I thought they did a good job. I'm gonna throw them a little bit of cash. I know some of the folks I was playing with have actually bought coins, so it's come worth it. Right now, I look like a cross between Hellboy and Master Chief, with a little bit of Gundam thrown in there for fun, because of the swords, and you can actually get like laser swords. It's a pretty dope game. I am enjoying the crap out of it. I recommend it. I would give it 9.5 out of 10 piggy poops. Yeah, because I'm going to need that shit to fertilize my mushrooms. Anyways, all right, so what the fuck else have I been doing? So we talked about it a little bit, and I didn't want to go fully into it because I know it's going to come up again. But I'm also playing Mass Effect. And I'm not just playing Mass Effect. I am playing the entire Mass Effect series. I'm going to start here with 1, and I am going to play all the way through to Andromeda. I hear there's some cool Andromeda mods that you can bust out. Not like the triple X bullshit. No, I'm talking about like the graphics fixes, some quest fixes from the quests that were broken. So by the time I get there, maybe it won't be as arduous to get through. I didn't hate it, but it didn't motivate me to finish it. This time I'm gonna get there. So I'm replaying Mass Effect, and I love it for a couple of reasons. I love its familiarity. Mass Effect was one of the first games that I played on my modern console. That was mine. So I told the story on here before, but fuck it, it's a music-centric episode. I'm gonna do it anyways. So I worked pretty hard when I was younger to buy myself consoles. I bought myself my first Nintendo, and look, I used to work in the fields, helping my mom out there as well while she worked there, and with my money, and I'm pretty sure my mom threw in, because I didn't understand how much things cost back then, so I'm pretty sure she threw in some, but I worked, and I bought myself a Nintendo, but this was by the point the Nintendo was already on Mario 3. That was like the game that had premiered, so it was later on in the cycle for that console. It wasn't early on to, like, Duck Hunt and all that. I had cousins that had a Nintendo, and they had the Duck Hunt and a couple, so I did play some of it, but I didn't have my own console. That was the first one. And then after that, I went through and I had a Sega VR. Not the first edition, not the one that that had the slider for the volume, and it had almost like that little red markings on the front. And not that one. I didn't get to have that. I completely skipped the Super Nintendo. We didn't have enough money, and I forgot if like I started going to school full time, so I didn't work in the field to make my own money like that. So we didn't do that. So I played the basic Nintendo for a long time. I used to go to like the swap meet, because again I came into the latter end of that console cycle for the NES specifically. So I'd find them in yard sales and what is called in Spanish La Pulga, which is it just honestly, direct translation is the flea. So the flea market. I imagine the market part was lost in translation when we first found out that that's what they were called here. But in Mexico, where I'm from, they called them, well, they have a few names, but, Mercado. La Marqueta is kind of a bastardization, but Mercado is more accurate. Anyways, that's how you get your my NES games, like $6. That's how I played the first Ghostbuster, and I never beat it. I didn't understand it. I was never great at some of those games. But anyways, move forward. I had the Sega. I think it was the 16-bit one that just had the 2 buttons up front. That was my first Sega, and it came with a copy of Vector Man 2. So that was the first Sega game that I owned. I had played the Sega at friends' houses and not a lot, but I had played it. Anyways, so Sega Genesis, and I remember I had that, and then I bought in a pack. I bought Echo the Dolphin, which started my obsession with the Echo series and aliens and dolphins and all that kind of crazy shit. Just nonsense basically, but it's interesting. But anyways, so that was the next one that I got, also paid for with my own money. I obviously, I think I worked in the field, but I don't remember exactly what at this point. It's been years. After that, I got gifted a PlayStation from like a charitable organization or like a friend of the family. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it was. But anyways, I had a PlayStation. What are the basic PlayStation PS1? I skipped. I didn't have a Nintendo 64. I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I didn't have a GameCube. I never owned any of those. And wow, first for here in the chat, the first console was the Atari 2600, and he didn't get anything until later when the PS2 came out. Like that's kind of crazy. So I where was I? Sega. Then I got the PlayStation. The PlayStation, I had that for a while because again that was a gift. I couldn't afford my own stuff. I was going to school and I played video games where I could. My mom used to have this rule where you could do about an hour every day, not of each. If you wanted to watch TV and play video games, you had to do half an hour and half an hour. That was her thing, where you could just sit there and do whatever you wanted. To be fair, though, later on she used to watch TV, so we watched a lot of Spanish TV. Not a lot of TV, but some TV. The other people used to rent rooms in our house and stuff, also watch TV. So I just exist. But anyways, and after the PlayStation 1, I didn't get another console until years later. I didn't get the Xbox One. Sorry, not the Xbox One, the original Xbox. I didn't get the Xbox. Couldn't afford it. It was the hottest toy that year. A lot of my friends had it, and it was really cool. It was all glowy and shit, too. And I didn't get that. My cousins got a PS2. I started playing on the computer at that point, and I started doing the basic PC games. Like, I'm not gonna lie, back then we sailed the high seas, yar, and probably had all kinds of crazy viruses and shit on my first couple of PCs there, and then skipped the console generation until the Xbox 360 Elite. Like, I didn't even get one of the white ones with the 3 rings of death. I didn't get any of those. I skipped them all that. By the time the Elite came around, it was more of a it was HD, and they had figured out some of the sound stuff better. It came with an HDMI pre-built in, more hard drive space, and I believe the processor was faster, or it just didn't have any heating issues. So that was the one that I bought, and like, dude, I went hardcore in on that one, because I had played at like Bonsai's house. I had played at other friends' houses on their consoles, mostly at Bonsai's because I used to hang out at his place a lot. So I ended up playing Halo 2, which is what got me into the series of Halo. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Let's finish this one first. We climb back out. And so it was the Elite. And I had all kinds of games for that. I went to midnight launches. This is really where I think I had hit a point in my life where I had an okay job and I could afford to pay for things that I wanted versus just paying for things that I needed. And I think this was the PS2. So that's the tricky part. That's the tricky part because the 360 Elite, I was already back from Iraq, so that's not true. That's not true. That was the first. Yeah, that was the first. I had a PS2 Slim when I was deployed. Yeah, dude, I messed up. Look, I'm just gonna erase the last 2 minutes of ranting and raving. No, So no, that's what had happened. It was a PS2. I skipped it when it was through its normal phase. It had been a couple years in, and they did the PS2 Slim. They didn't have any of the heating issues, but it also dude, it was like that thing was hot in comparison. I might still have it somewhere, dude. It was, yeah, I might still have it. It's crazy, but so I got that. That was when I was in Iraq. Obviously you couldn't play on the internet or anything like that, but you could play some games in your chew if you bought a local TV from one of the markets there, and or found one like I did, and rewired it and fixed it so that it would work. So I hooked up my PS2 on it. I remember playing God of War. I remember playing a bunch of games because this was later on, so it wasn't like Metal Gear Black and all that stuff. It didn't quite come out on time for me to do this. Yeah. The chat was talking about they have their PS2. I think I have some. I still have it here, maybe. But anyways, so 360, and then at that point, like I said, I was making more money and being stupid with it. I started. I got a PS3 just kind of out of the blue. I was like, I want to buy myself something cool, so bought myself a PS3, and the way that I had split it up, like games that I play multiplayer, because I was playing multiplayer still back then. This was before I got all sour and bitter about it. Now I don't do multiplayer really. All my multiplayer games I got on the Xbox is Xbox Live, which is just a more cohesive system that worked for servers, Battlefield 2, all kinds of shit that I used to play multiplayer on console. But for PS3, it was all the better graphics, because it could, even with the Elite, the PS3 could, which was just a better graphically, and it was just a faster machine. So that's where I got like the Arkham game. I remember was great. I even tried like Vanquish. I had a lot of games for the PS3. I still have all of those. That's when I started collecting as well. And then that was a nice little war there. And then the Xbox One came out, and I was just like, not really interested. I got myself I replaced my Elite with the Gears of War 360. They made all the noises, mostly because of the bigger hard drive, and again, it had fixed emission. It was just still a little faster. I think I might be lying on that one. But anyways, so I didn't get the Xbox One when it first came out. Apparently, I'm not a follower. It's also really expensive and hard to get, and they don't have accessories for it figured out. And usually, consoles at launch don't really have a lot of really good titles, because companies are still trying to milk the last console cycle, and shiny and new isn't sparking. This is probably the most latest console cycle. It's probably the only one where I'm going to be like, yeah, at launch, I think I'm going to get two. Both of them. But although they just released the pricing on the Xbox One X or whatever the hell they're calling it, dude, $600. It's not real pricing, right? This is a rumor. I'm gonna start some shit right here. 1 second. But yeah. So, $600 for the One X, man. I really want to get both of them at the same time, but that is a big chunk of change, and I don't know. We'll see how this goes. It's a lot of money, and also the PS5. Jesus, lots of money this year, or I think it's this year. And then they also just delayed Halo Infinite, so maybe I'll wait again like I did before, but. If they announce a Ratchet and Clank game at launch, or if they have and I've missed it, yeah, PS4, you're my boy, or PS5, you're my boy. But anyways, let's finish the history. So I had a PS3. I waited. Rock Band out. I did a lot of other shenanigans. Played a little less video games. Still video games, but a little less. Played a lot of PC games. Then the next console that I got was, I did get the Xbox One. It was one of the original black ones. And I got it because of a game. It was probably one of the Halo games. Yeah, it was probably for Halo No, I got it before that because I ended up with the special edition Halo 4 console when that one came out. I was super stoked, and I still have it. That's the one I'm using now, the Xbox One, the Halo 4 edition. I do have the controllers. It's here somewhere. I'm in a temp space right now, so I don't have any of my consoles unpacked except for my Wii. And yeah, dude, I totally forgot about. I guess I don't consider them consoles. No, I did have a Wii, but again, I bought it later on. I played. There were some really good games, and then I skipped the Wii U, and then now I have my Switch, and I love my fucking Switch. I will say, out of the three, my Switch is the fucking favorite. Although I love the shit out of my 3DS. So yeah. I guess I just like my handheld consoles. And I was super skeptical about the Switch, and that that was on me. Super skeptical. The Switch has been fantastic. If you don't have one and can afford one, get yourself a Switch. It's a good investment. It's in good gaming. Anyways, so back to Mass Effect. That was the console history. I have a Switch now. I got a PS4 that I got it for free that I didn't buy. The PS4 I didn't buy. But anyways, back to Mass Effect. Mass Effect was when I got really into gaming and more of a not the multiplayer game, but more into the RPG story-driven game. And it did something that I always thought games could do. Because the sequels always felt like you always found a stupid reason to start over. Like, you earned all this crazy shit. You are a badass motherfucker in the first game. And then now in the second game, you're like, oh, I tripped and I broke all my power and it escaped. Or whatever bullshit they concoct. I always thought that, like, maybe you could just do a little something to acknowledge that you played the other game. Like, it adds a nice little thread, a little loyalty. And the Mass Effect series did that. But before I even got to that, they had said that they were going to do that, and they were going to say that your choices were going to matter in the other parts of the game. And I just it got me. The military part of it, right? Like, got me. Space exploration got me. I'm a fucking nerd who I was in the military, so I'm a military nerd as well, who thinks like, yeah, like these crazy sci-fi wars happening in space, it happens. Let's go. So the story, I love the story. I love the choices. I am such a fucking sucker, dude. When I play these games, a lot of, especially Bonsai and Klops, they are, let's fuck shit up. Let's be Sith. Or, Renegade for Mass Effect. Because in this one, it's still like Dark Side, Light Side. But Paragon is if you do nice things for people. Don't punch them incessantly. Don't steal. Just be a decent person. Is Paragon. And Renegade is just be a giant douche. And I'm such a sucker. I'm always fucking the nice one. I try to do the right thing, and it's because of the indoctrination, I think. I mean my good code of moral values. No, I don't know. It's weird. It's probably a weird thing about me. I'm such a bitch. But I go Paragon, and playing it, there were times where decisions were fucking tough, and I'm playing it again this time. And it's not quite having the same effect. There's so many things I forgot, and to the point where I had forgotten all of the little tedious side quests, and how unfortunately bad the mini map and quest tracking system is. And it's not Morrowind levels of bad, because that's a whole other fucking thing. Like, yeah, there are memes of how bad Morrowind's fucking, or even Skyrim was better, but also like, hey, fuck you if you're just trying to free roam. But the mini map on this isn't great, and the UI is a little clunky. But it was back then. It was started as console only, and I'm playing it on the PC, so I'm sure it's just really it's ported. But there are still aspects of the story that capture me. I've forgotten enough to where rediscovering it feels familiar. And right now, with all the craziness going on in the world, like, dude, there's thunder in the California Bay Area. Like, that's crazy. It's just it obviously for the U.S. Thunder's not crazy, but it's crazy for that area and how hot it was. They're having a crazy heat wave. Yeah, this is gonna date this episode. Anyways, so Mass Effect feels familiar, and I've been playing it. I got really into it. I finished the first chapter, and if you haven't played it, like spoiler, at one point you become a Spectre, and it's like the close of the first. Probably the first act, I would say, is because I've played this before, so obviously no. Act 1 is your intro into this world, your intro into the game. You learn the mechanics, you do a little bit of easier missions, and then Act 2 is when you start to make some of the big choices that, big spoiler here, they kind of matter in other games. Not really. They're mentioned. They affect certain things that you can do, and we'll talk more when I go through all that. But anyways, I'm Mass Effect. That's another thing that I'm doing here during this time. I switched like for Did you guys notice that? You guys need to call me on this shit, including the podcast listeners. Send me an email. Tell me stop using that shit. I use my professional voice. And I've been watching some other stuff, but I think I've rambled enough. I'm not as cool as Kevin Smith, so I probably didn't keep it as entertaining. However, there it is. Tuesday nights, check us out. You know, honestly, we're probably going to play Creativerse again. But Tuesday nights, 7 to 9 Pacific, we are there. Wednesdays, Klops and Bonsai, hopefully they're feeling better, are doing their own stream, and I think they were playing This War of Mine. No, I'm probably wrong. No, they probably moved on to something else, but check them out. Bias Bros comes out every other Thursday. That is Jay and Bonsai, the two film brothers. They spend their time taking a little deeper dive into movies and theories of that, a little bit more film centric than 5D podcast. Check them out every other Thursday as well. Thank you to the chat. They're playing Dying Light is what they're playing. And then I believe Thursday, Klops, I don't know if he does it on his channel, but Klops and Saint, who's podcast listeners and folks on the YouTube might recognize, have played with us on the multiplayer nights. Thursday, they're playing Divinity 2, I believe. So check us out. We got some cool content. Most of the time, there's 3 of us talking probably better shit and not just rambling like me. But yeah, check us out. That's on iTunes in 5D podcast. YouTube is in 5D. Twitch is twitch.tv/Metagame Network. Check us out. All right, and on that note, what are my final words? I can't believe I made it. I rambled through it. I'm probably going to have to do this again sometime in the future, but for those folks who put up with this, thank you very much. Y'all are great. Thank you. Bye.